Welcome back to the channel, folks. This is Jason, host of Fighting Words Financial. This is my second video for the day. I don't usually do two videos in a day, but a couple of hours ago, this article that I'm looking at right now just came out on Yahoo Finance about Nio reportedly planning entry-level models with cheaper batteries from CATL. Folks, this could actually turn out to be bigger news for the bottom line of Nio than you might realize at this point, because of certain restrictions and conditions created with their battery swapping program. All right, so Nio Day is just around the corner. There's going to be a lot of other exciting announcements, including the new sedan that's coming out, maybe two sedans that are coming out. And I think that this information might get a little bit lost in the shuffle, but it actually is probably far more important than we realize at this time. And let's talk about that just for a moment. So Nio's entered into a contract with battery supplier CATL to procure a line of lithium ferrophosphate batteries. Chinese media is reporting this right now. So what is the lithium ferrophosphate battery and what is so important about it? The most important thing about the lithium ferrophosphate battery is that it has a cathode chemistry that eliminates cobalt and nickel. Cobalt and nickel aren't actually rare. They're just politically problematic, and the supplies are generally located in places where you have problems extracting it in a manner that is not ethically problematic. So, and a lot of times these supplies are not necessarily located in the countries that are most using EVs. So they wanted to move away from cobalt, nickel, and manganese in their cathode supply for a long time, and lithium, iron, and phosphate, or something that is available worldwide and worldwide and easily extractable in many places. So lithium iron phosphate batteries are also cheaper, and you're able to get the cost per kilowatt hour down to around $80 per kilowatt hour. At least that's what CATL is reporting, and I think that BYD reports very close to those numbers as well. So they are used in cheaper EVs pioneered by Tesla, like the Tesla Model 3 has lithium ferrophosphate batteries in them. Also, the BYD Han luxury sedan, also has a lithium ferrophosphate battery in there. So it's going to ease cost pressure on the batteries and helps circumvent some of the safety concerns that surround the current way that lithium batteries are built now, meaning that they can occasionally overheat and cause fires. Lithium ferrophosphate batteries are a lot safer than that. So it looks like Nio's planning to launch a couple of entry-level models equipped with these batteries as soon as this year, and they have the objective of meeting some price-sensitive customers, and this is what local media in China is reporting. So let's talk about why this is important, really important, in relation to battery swapping. All right, so right now, if you have one of Nio's premium vehicles, you may own a vehicle that if you enter into one of their battery as a service agreements where it takes the cost of the battery out of the cost of the vehicle, with some of their vehicles, you may still qualify for subsidies from the Chinese government, EV subsidies for the Chinese government, but some of their models would price those vehicles above that, and you still wouldn't receive the subsidy. So we're looking at vehicles right now where they're all going to receive this subsidy, and it's going to be priced at in a market that's a little bit lower on the economic scale, but a much broader market. And this is very good. I think that bringing EVs to the masses is very good. It also makes Nio, this is probably the reason why they're not really intimidated by Tesla saying that they're going to have a $25,000 EV. Nio is going to be right there. But if you take the cost of the battery out, let's say a lithium ferrophosphate battery at $80 per kilowatt hour, you may be looking at an entry-level vehicle taking about $4,000 to $5,000 of the cost of the battery out of the vehicle. So you're really looking at a car that costs $18,000 to $20,000 to the Chinese consumer. So now, when you're looking at Nio's premium market, where you're paying $40,000 to $50,000 per vehicle, you enter in a battery as a service agreement, it takes the cost of that out. There's plenty of margin in vehicle margin for Nio to make some money on that. But when you go into battery swapping and you have these battery swapping arrangements, you're not selling one battery for every Nio car that's being sold. You're really selling more like 1.2 batteries, right? Because they're going to roll up, they're going to go into the battery changing station, their battery comes out, a new battery comes in, and that one's being charged. It's going to take at least a couple hours to charge that battery up to 100%. I'm already hearing stories right now that batteries aren't being charged to 100% at swapping stations, and they are going to put that into a new vehicle. So you're not just selling one Nio car with one Nio battery like you are under a regular purchase agreement, you're really selling more than one battery. It's a fraction of another battery, but it's more than one battery. So this saves money for the consumer, but it actually adds costs to Nio, right? It adds costs in the form of how many battery swap stations do they need. It adds cost in how many batteries do they need. So it makes sense for them to lower the cost of a vehicle by taking some of the cost of the battery off the bottom line for the consumer, but also for their own balance sheet. So I think that in terms of whether or not this is a good idea for the company, I think it's a great idea for the company, but I think it's an incredible logistical feat that's going to happen if they start selling hundreds of thousands of more vehicles and they're putting in thousands of more swap stations, and they're going to be selling more than one battery essentially for each swap station. And this is a lithium ferrophosphate battery, which is able to charge relatively quickly in comparison to some of the batteries that are already out there. But it's still, you're not going to 100% in 15 minutes or something like that. Anyway, I think this is really, really interesting. I think it could be potentially very, very good for Nio's profitability in the future. And there are a lot of other things to discuss with lithium ferrophosphate batteries. I did make another video on this about BYD's battery. I do think that this is a very interesting move by Nio, and I do think that it's going to improve their profitability should they decide to move into this entry-level market where margins would tend to be a bit thinner than they are in the premium market that they're currently in. Anyway, I don't see this as a negative at all. I see this as a positive, but I'm a little bit cautious about it because I know that the added cost of having a battery swapping network, while it's spurring sales and it's alleviating range anxiety, it is a huge burden on the balance sheet right now, and I'm just curious to see how this is going to work out in the future. Anyway, folks, thank you very much for listening today. If you want to disagree with me in the comments below or tell me how wrong you think I am, I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much and have a nice day.